In part 3, we got the narration in place, got it trimmed up. Then we brought the music down and we trimmed that up and got that in line. And we were just starting to cut up the sound effects and bring all that down to see what we might want to have. And something that I'll show you next. But we need to know where these sound effects go. So for this project, if you go to Educat, and if you go to somewhere in Educat, there is the Boston Globe project description, and then there is the Boston Globe script. And if you look at that, start with music and eerie sounding music, thunder and footsteps. So we start with thunder right at the very beginning, and some footsteps as the announcer says, she was all alone in the house. As she walked past the living room, something drew her inside, door squeaking open. The wind rattled, and we have sound effects of wind rattling and whistling through the windows. As the door blew shut behind her, the door blowing shut, the dust guns. And then she noticed a tear in the wallpaper, stains on the upholstery, footstep. She started toward the faded curtains. Okay, and then that's good. And then we just have thunder at the very end again. So let's try doing some of this. So the first thing is we have thunder at the very beginning. I'm going to take that thunder, bring it to the very beginning here, and I'm going to zoom in so I can trim it. Now let's listen. I'm going to click on, go to the beginning.
She was all alone in the house. As she walked past.
Pretty good. Maybe it was a little too loud. I don't know. If it's too loud, what I can do is adjust the volume. And I can go either to the mix window. I go to Window, go to the mix, and my tracks are displayed right here in the mix window. It's hiding off to the side. So I could bring down thunder a little bit like that. Make it so it isn't quite as loud. Or if I want to just do a shortcut and just pull up that fader right here in my edit window, first I need to show my input and output columns. This little box here with vertical lines, I click that and then I click I/O for input output. And then I should be able to see right here where it says output, there's a little fader. I click on that and that just is a shortcut to go to that spot there. So if I go click here.
She was all alone.
A little too quiet perhaps. I can bring it back up to 0.
She was all alone in the house. As she walked past the living room, something drew her.
Pretty good, except that thunder just goes on and on. So something that I might want to do is fade out the thunder more quickly. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see what I'm working with. And what I can do to fade, I could click and drag like this, but I want to just show you another route. And what I can do here, instead of showing waveform, I can click here and show volume. Now it shows me an envelope of here's the volume. And what I can do here is create nodes on this envelope and drag the volume down. So I can hold down the control button and it turns into a little pencil, and I click. And I keep holding the control button down and I click again. And then on this second one, I can drag. Oh, it's got a pencil. I don't really want to do that. That's making all these little different nodes. So I'm going to hit Cmd-Z to undo that. And let me just make one node here. So that was just a single click instead of drawing with a pencil. And now I can use this hand. It just turns into a hand when I hover over that node. And I can just create my own size fade like that.
In the house. As she walked past the living room, something.
That's still dragging out a little too much, so I'm going to make my fade a little bit closer over here.
Was all alone in the house. As she walked past the living room, something drew.
So that it fades and it gets out right away. I'm going to even start fading it out sooner. Click that node.
All alone. alone in the house.
So anyway, you can work with that. And if you want to go back to doing something else with that track, you can go back from volume to waveform. And now I could, trim up like that if I wanted to. So whatever you're editing, you can change waveform, or you can go to volume. And there's some other options there that you can experiment with. Okay, so based on the script, what I can do is listen to my audio up at the top. I'm going to hit Command-S to save. And just see where I might want to place some markers. So I had the thunder at the very beginning.
All alone in the house. As she walked past the living room.
As she walked. In the script, we wanted footsteps there. So I'm going to click right here. And then in this ruler right here, it says markers. I'm going to press a plus sign. If that markers ruler isn't showing, I just go to this little button here with the horizontal lines. I click that. And then I would put a check mark. I'd click on markers and put a check mark there, and then it would show. But it's already showing. So I have my cursor right where I want to put this.
As she walked.
So I'll put a marker right there. I hit the plus sign, and I'll just write walked and hit OK. So that's easy, right? Plus sign, walk. I keep listening.
As she walked.
And maybe I don't want to hear other stuff, so I hit S to solo this track.
As she walked past the living room, something drew her inside. The wind rattled the window.
The wind. So there's a spot about the wind, so I put my cursor right there. I go up and I hit the plus sign. I'll say wind. So I just go back and forth between the audio and the script like that. And create markers to help me figure out where I want to put things. I will show you more in the next video about positioning some more sound effects.